Good morning. If it's morning when you're watching this, it's morning for me. It's the day after Christmas, and I probably should have waited to do this video until I was at my desk with the really good lighting and everything, but I'm just too excited about this, and I need to talk about it. So I'm gonna do it here, and I'm, as always, gonna edit in better footage of these knives I'm talking about, so you'll get a nice look at them. Because I'm comparing two knives today, and you're going to want to see them close up because there's some interesting differences. And this is something I've been wondering about for a long time. The Demco AD20 versus the Demco AD20 Slim. Look at this. I finally got an AD20 Slim. In the, what do they call it? The spear point? I don't know. Spear point, I think. Or is it the slicer grind? Who knows? But this is the best blade shape of the AD20, I think. Now, the AD20 I've owned forever is this one. The clip point one in 3V. And it's the full thickness version. Very thick blade stock, you know, handle very thick, shark lock tab very thick. And I've absolutely loved this knife. It's a full flat grind version, which is a little bit more rare. And it's thin behind the edge, and even though it's so thick up here, this thing actually slices surprisingly well. It holds an edge really well. It's just a really good knife. But I usually like my tips a little bit lower, more of this kind of blade shape. And so this I think I'm gonna like a lot more. Not only because it's gonna be easier tip access, but look at the difference in blade stock thickness, man. Holy crap. Look at that, man. Imagine how much better this is gonna slice. Now, it's not a full flat grind, but still, you know, the thinness of the blade stock really is the largest factor in sliciness. So I am gonna sell this one. I can't afford to keep both. I ordered my new one knowing that I would sell this one once I got it and once I did the videos and everything. I did swap the scales. So this one, my new one, came with these disgusting day glow scales on it, but I just switched them out this morning. I know that's going to make this one less desirable when I go to sell it. Might not be able to lift it for as much, but I really like these. I think they call it flat earth or like brown earth or something like that. I really like the color, so I wanted to put them on my new one. And I also put my Lynch deep carry clip on my new one as well. So, what are the differences? Blade stock thickness being probably the most noticeable, and handle thickness. Now, one thing I was curious about is, would the actual tab, this part of the shark lock, be thin as well? Because, you know, you probably could have a thin blade and then have this be thicker. I guess, actually, no, that probably wouldn't make sense. I think the tab needs to be the same thickness as the blade stock, so I don't know what I was thinking. But I just didn't know. But yes, it is. The tab itself here is the same thickness as the blade stock. Now I will say the big thick one is pretty comfortable. I think a little more comfortable to disengage because there's just more surface area on this tab for your finger. It's like a larger area. This one, I mean, still real comfortable, but just not quite as comfortable is the thing. Functionally, it really feels exactly the same. Like, the sounds, you still get that delicious ting noise when the blade hits the stop pin or whatever it is. Oh, so good. It really feels exactly the same. It really, really does. That was another thing I didn't know, is if it would feel different because it was thinner. No, still incredible. Incredibly smooth, Now, when I took these apart, I noticed that they had different bearings. The old one had more of like I don't know what the casing is of the bearing, but it's like a brass color on the old one. On the new one, maybe they're stainless. I'm not sure what they are. I could see myself maybe putting skips in this. I mean, since it's so drop shut, because of the way the lock works, I don't know if it's really necessary. Probably not. I can't see the action improving over that, so maybe not, but it'd be interesting. Now, the ergonomics is probably just a little better on the big thick one, just because it is thicker, right? Like, the ergos on the big thick one they're so good. So good. And they're really good on the thinner one, too. It's almost not that noticeable. If you're holding them side by side, you can feel the difference. But they're still so good. Now, another difference is there's a little dip on the spine right here, right above the hole. See that? Also, it's not a perfectly oval hole. There's like a larger end to the hole. And that's in the top part so that you can easily get your finger in for reverse flicking. Now, the AD20 has never been a great thumb flicker, at least for me. I can't really get it to thumb flick unless I use some wrist. So when I deploy the AD20, I reverse flick it or I roll it out. I think more often than not, I just roll it out, actually. And it's a very satisfying, lovely click when you roll it out. So ergo's slightly better on the big thick one just because it is thicker. But this dip on the spine really feels good in the choke up spot. You're choked up and your thumb just lands right on that little, pretty subtle dip, but you can really feel it. It feels great. I've always loved how Demko does their choke up areas because it's not a cut out of the blade, and it's not like this big old notch in the handle. It's just this little shelf right here. And that shelf, when you're choked back, provides a really secure spot for your fist. Almost feels like one of those gladiator swords. I think it's called a gladius or something like that, where it has like the two big kind of pieces of the tang that come out and like sandwich your hand in between them. It feels like that. It's awesome. And then if you want to choke up, you just go on this little shelf, and it's really comfortable. You're away from the edge, super comfy. Awesome, perfect, love it. The texture on the G10 also is incredible. I love their texture. Another difference is, and this is slightly annoying, the pins here, the body pins on the thick one, the pins are stepped. So you stick it in and it's stepped, and so you put your screw in from the outside. On the thin one, they're not stepped, and they just go all the way through. And for some reason, these don't spin, but this one spins. I don't know why it spins, but it does. You can't tighten it down unless you have a driver on either side. It's kind of annoying. I don't know why that is. It just is. I'm trying to think of any other differences on the inside. Not that I noticed. Obviously, the barrel spacers are thinner on the thin one. Yeah, that's about it. My new one is an M4, which I'm excited. I've actually never owned any M4. My old one's in 3V, which is awesome too. And looking at the finish on the blade, it almost looks a little bit more reflective on the clip point. A lovely, lovely finish. Yeah, not quite as reflective on this one. Kind of unfortunate. I really like the shininess of this one, but it's still a really, really nice stone wash. It's just not quite as reflective. You can see side by side here. Overall, I think I'm really gonna love this, and I love this one, the thick one. So obviously, I'm gonna love this one. It's the same incredible knife, just thinner, slicier, better blade shape for all around use. at least for what I do. So there you go. There they are, right side by side. Again, you'll get a nice close-up of all this stuff. Now, one thing I will say, ooh, look at that, double AD20s, double the click-clack. That's pretty sweet. When I took this knife out of the box for the first time, by the way, the reason why there's not an unboxing video is because this arrived on the weekend and my girlfriend was there and I didn't want to take time away from her to go do a video. So I just opened it. I also didn't want to wait. So I just opened it and messed around with it without filming it. When I took this out of the box, I immediately loved it. But there was just a small part in my brain that was like, why is this $500? It seems like, especially this G10 version, if you look at like a McNeese, full titanium frame lock, about the same. No titanium, except maybe this is, the lock bar might be titanium, I'm not sure. G10, $500. I feel, and if you look at Hinder XM18, titanium frame lock with a G10 show side and titanium liners. These actually might be titanium liners, I'm not sure. $425 for a Hinder XM18. This is more than that. Now, I am completely happy with paying $500 because I really like this a lot. But, you know, there's a part of your brain that's like, could it be a little cheaper? Probably. Is it? What's special about this that makes this more expensive than an XM18? I don't really know. Is one of these pieces really hard to make? Maybe this, it doesn't. Not that I can tell. I'll say that, but I'm not a machinist. I think that's an interesting topic. What do you guys think? Why do you think this is more than an XM18 or a McNeese Mac 2? Or I'm sure there's a lot of other examples. Nevertheless, I really, really like it. I'll probably do a cut test. I want to see what the M4 is like, and I want to see how much better I like this blade shape and the thinness. So there you go. If you want this, hit me up. Demco sells replacement G10 scales on their website. So if you don't like the Dago, you can always go that route. They have a lot of colors. They have digi camo. It's in really good shape. I don't see any scratches on the blade whatsoever. The clip is brand new because this is the clip from my other one. So no scratches on that. It's really in excellent condition. And it's a little bit smoother because it's all broken in. I'm not sure what I'm going to ask for it yet, but if you're interested, send me a message. That's it. I love you guys. Please like the video before you head out. That'll help me out a lot. See you soon.